Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black MINDZ News. Black MINDZ News is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, websites, or quotes from publications. As I articulate this information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this place that we call the United States, we, the foundational black Americans, the bloodline historical lineage, the historical people known as slaves, we who call ourselves today BADOS, Black American Descendant of Slaves. Others say Black African Descendant of Slaves, and others say ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves. We, the today children, offspring, and present generation, we give honor to our ancestors. And you know what my motto of the show is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. Well, Black MINDZ News is going over to Kansas City. Let me give you the scenario to the background of this. Let's say it's 1996, for those who can go back that far. You're about 24 years old. You got a baby on the way. In the area, 2 men are killed. Somehow, you're identified. Some people, eyewitnesses, said that you were there. You get sent to prison, convicted of the crimes, life in prison without parole. Then, one of the individuals who was part of it confesses and says he did it. And all the other evidence pointed to him and other people. But today, it's 2019. Well, stay tuned as Black MINDZ News show you the individual here, this brother, and what he had endured, and the things he said. Stay tuned as Black MINDZ News report this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing? Again, this is your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds. Today's date is August 17th, 2019. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to my family, my subscribers, old and new. Welcome again to another Black MINDZ News Report. It is Saturday. That's right. Mr. Blow Your Mind is trying to be consistent as I try to promise, right? And those brothers out there who've been trying to give me that information, just wait. We're on the countdown. We're almost there. So again, I got you in mind. Don't think I have forgot. Now, passerbys, if your GPS on your search engine somehow allowed you to come by and you happen to see the title, seen the thumbnail, and you sit there and click on the most hated show in the black corner of the internet, welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. You may be wondering why I say I'm the most hated show on the Black Corner of the Internet. Well, let me give you a little synopsis of the background. Been in the business for 7 years. Used to get videos, views of 275,000, which is 250,000, 50,000, 30,000, and so forth. But today is 2019, and recently, I used to only get 100 views. Now it's down to 50 views. So you have to ask yourself, what could somebody be doing that is not allowing them to be brought out and have to be sequestered and suppressed? Well, welcome to the most hated show on the Black Corner of the Internet. Go through the aisle, see some things you might like. If you happen to see something that make you feel some kind of way, remember the motto of the show is the truth don't need no partner. Now let's get into this story here, right? So, let me go ahead and introduce you to the brother here. Let me go ahead and show it to you, right? So let me go ahead and show you brother here, right? So it says, judge orders release of Missouri man in prison 2 decades. You know I'm going to say that again. Judge orders release of Missouri man in prison 2 decades. This story was done August the 15th, 2019, coming out of Associated Press. As Tar says, in Kansas City, Missouri, a judge ordered the release Thursday of a Missouri inmate who was in prison for more than 20 years for double murder, a day after overturning his conviction. DeKalb County Judge Darren Atkins said in his order that prosecutors didn't object to 44-year-old Ricky Kidd being freed pending further proceedings in the case. Atkins issued the order 1 day after finding that there was clear and convincing evidence that Kidd was innocent of the February 1996 death of George Bryant and Oscar Bridges in Kansas City. Atkins gave prosecutors 30 days to decide. There's some monkey business going on over here, y'all. Sorry about that. Every time I read this story seems to be going away. So obviously they don't want me to read this story. I tell you, boy, huh? You know, people don't really want they put it out here, but they really don't want us to be up on it, right? Because again, you get to see what's happening really going on out here. So let me go ahead and get that back for you. So Kidd, who had been held at a prison in Cameroon, was greeted by a crowd of well-wishers, including his daughter, who hadn't been born when he was locked up. He said he was elated but angry about the years he spent behind bars. We all should be angry. Taxpayers who foot the bill for 23 years paying for the wrong person to be in prison. While the real individuals are out there, he told the Kansas City Star. Court records show that Kidd, who was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the 2 first-degree murder convictions, told authorities he was with his girlfriend at the time of the killings. Eyewitnesses who testified against him later recanted, the record shows. Chris Newell, spokeswoman or spokesperson or man for Attorney General Eric Schmidt, said the office is examining the order and couldn't immediately comment. He said the office hasn't made a decision about whether to retry Kidd. Until the state makes a decision, he will live with his sister in Kansas City and is barred from leaving the state. The Missouri Attorney General Office, led by then top prosecutor Jay Nixon, handled the original prosecution. Jackson County Prosecutor Jean Peter Baker said her office also is reviewing the case. A police officer who arrived at Bryant's home after the killing found his 4-year-old daughter in a garage crying, still on the phone with a 911 operator. Bryant was lying in a pool of blood in the snow in his front yard. Police then found Bridges' body in Bryant's basement with his feet, hands, and mouth bound with duct tape. He had been shot twice in the back of the head. Kidd and Marcus Murrell was convicted while only Murrell confessed. Atkins' orders said evidence pointed to Murrell and 2 other men as the real killers. Okay, so that is what it says according to that there. Okay, so I'll go back in there because that's still, I'm not going to do it. So what I'm going to do now, let me give you the background. I'm going to give you the visuals here. Because they also have the news stories that broke. So let me give you this and be right back. Check this out.
More than 20 years behind bars for a murder he swears he didn't commit may soon go free.
Ricky Kidd was convicted of a murder that another man has now confessed to. Today, a judge ruled Kidd needs to be retried or let go.
The prosecutor has 30 days to figure it out. Investigative reporter Angie Racono has been following this case. So Angie, what can you tell us?
Well, Brad and Ellen, for the first time in 23 years, Ricky Kidd has a lot of hope. I just spoke with his family. They expect him to be released any day based on what the judge ruled today. And she was very clear in her 100-page filing that Ricky Kidd did not have a fair trial, and new evidence and really old evidence calls everything into question.
Ricky Kidd was convicted of a double murder that took place near Swope Park back in 1996. Kidd's name was anonymously called into police, but Kidd had an alibi for the entire day that even included him filling out paperwork for a gun permit. Multiple people swear they were with him. On top of that, Kidd's defense team says it's now clear who committed the crime. Ricky Kidd has strong support, and that includes former Kansas City Police Commissioner Alvin Brooks. Now a judge has taken a serious look at this old case and ruled this needs to go back before a jury or Kidd needs to simply be released from prison.
I'm just really disappointed in the judicial system. I really am. Amy McGowan, the former prosecutor, very upset. Gene Peters Baker, they've known he's been innocent and they could have let him go a long time ago, and it's wasting taxpayers' money as well. So very disappointed in the system that's supposed to protect and serve. You kept an innocent man in prison.
I've been really happy and really excited, but I'm more like happy for him because he wanted this more than anything and he deserves it.
Kidd has been represented in part by the Midwest Innocence Project, who has spent more than a decade working on this case. This is the same team which helped free Lamont McIntyre, and they are also working to free a man in St. Louis named Lamar Johnson.
This is a solved crime. Everyone knows who committed the crime. One of these individuals still walks the streets today while Ricky Kidd sits there. It's been over 2 decades and it's beyond time.
So it's now up to Gene Peters Baker to decide what will happen next. And we have learned that she is not going to block Kidd's release. So now it's really just up to the Attorney General. But the wheels are clearly in motion, and Ricky Kidd's family feels he will be released very soon. They tell me Ricky is in great spirits, has always had a positive outlook, and he's looking forward to little things like walking on carpet. He hasn't done that in 23 years. Angie Racono, KCTV5 News.
Yeah, unbelievable. Angie, thank you.
Okay, so that was prior to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the most latest story. So check this out and be right back.
Now back to our other top story. Ricky Kidd freed from prison after spending 23 years behind bars. Investigative reporter Angie Racono is live now from the Cameron Correctional Complex, the scene of a very happy reunion tonight. Angie, what an incredible evening.
Oh, absolutely, Ellen. This is such an amazing moment for Ricky Kidd, his family, and his legal team. But it's also bittersweet because, remember, this was 23 years in the making. All of this traces back to a 1996 double murder that took place in Swope Park, near Swope Park, at a house. And Ricky Kidd, his name was given to police anonymously. And Ricky Kidd's legal team believes that was actually done by the real killer. Kidd had an alibi, and there was no physical evidence that tied him to the crime. He never thought he would be convicted. And he also said he never thought it would take 23 years to prove his innocence. Today, as he left prison, he admitted he's angry.
I am. I think you have to be. I think you have to be angry. But it's what you do with the anger. And I found a way to channel that and turn it into passion. And so in the days and weeks and months ahead, I think you'll see some of that passion emerge in conversations and perhaps interviews. But I am angry. I am very angry, and I continue to be, and we need to be. We all need to be angry. Taxpayers have foot the bill for 23 years paying for the wrong person to be in prison, while the real individuals was out there in society. We all should be angry about that, and should be also willing to do something about it.
The system failed twice. It failed when it wrongly convicted him, and it failed when it took 23 years to correct that mistake.
A lot of tears. I've been crying. My face looks terrible. I was very happy. I was very excited. I just keep saying in my head, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. Like, he's really out. We've been to so many court dates. We've been to so many appeals, and we've been left crying. And now I'm coming and I'm crying because he's getting out.
Who you just heard from, that's Ricky Kidd's daughter. She wasn't even born when he left for prison, and she's now in her 20s. The good news is that the family is all off together for a steak dinner. Reporting live from the Cameron Correctional Complex, Angie Racono, KCTV5 News.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much time that they'll need to make up now. It's unbelievable. And he made a great point about taxpayers. They should be angry too, because the people who were responsible were free. All right,
Angie got away.
Yeah, Angie Racono live for us in Cameron tonight. Thank you.
Lamont McIntyre has been following Ricky Kidd's case closely. You may remember McIntyre was wrongfully convicted of murder in KCK. He also spent 23 years in prison. McIntyre has been one of Ricky Kidd's supporters, and today he talked about the challenges of reintegration.
I'm happy for him, though. I know that he's going to do well in his life. It's just getting on that path to do all the things he want to do. There's so many different things running through his head, a lot of emotion. You know, he's just trying to figure out where he belongs in this life now, this whole different space. It's just, I just want to be a support system for him. You know, I want to be able to support him in any kind of emotional way I can to let him know this, this is a journey, and now he's starting it all over.
McIntyre and Kidd are already in touch. Both men are represented in part by the Midwest Innocence Project, which works to free wrongfully convicted people, and it is based here in Kansas City.
All right. So now you have more insight about what took place with the brother there, Ricky Kidd, who has been released after 23 years being in jail when he was 24 years old in 1996. Took him 23 years later to be released. Yet, looks like the Jeannie Peter Baker, the decision was whether wanted to retry or to release. But they were thinking about it, but yet the fact they had old evidence, and as you heard, that there was really no evidence to really convict the brother. The eyewitnesses, that, according to what they said in the story, was that the person who was confessing to do the murder actually said this brother did it, right? So one of the persons that gave testimony was somebody who was actually a part of it, that allowed other people to actually get by. So, he had alibis, if you heard, right? Now, again, you know how it is. Black people lie for black people. That's what everybody say. So if his alibi is that he was with his girlfriend, I guess that is a common alibi, that if that's who you have, matter of fact, he had baby on the way, right? Remember, the baby wasn't even born when he went in, but the baby now is like 24 years old, right? Or 23, going on 24, right? So that means the baby wasn't born yet. And so wouldn't it be logical that somebody would be, I don't know how many children that she had prior to the girlfriend he had at the time, but, maybe this is his first child, most likely. I don't know, maybe it could be more children, but let's say this is his first child, then he's trying to be around, trying to do the fatherly thing, make sure that, that baby is being protected, mother being protected, and doing all the things that, what you do when you first have that encounter of having a new child, right? But that wasn't good enough. But he actually had something else. If you heard intently, they said that he had filed for a gun permit on the same day that they claim. Now, wait a minute. That in itself, again, those who know about registering for, a FOID card and things like that, it has to go through the process, right? So there's a fee, there's the exchange, there's the sending off. So how did that, and I'm pretty sure the place of business may have had 96, maybe didn't have the cameras that we have now, right? The sporadic at that time. Not everybody had them. If they did, those real terrible type of cameras. But the thing, there was a place that he could be pinpointed that is actually affiliated with the state. Then how come that was not used to exonerate this brother? Why was they, again, see, when the prison system has something to do about making money, and again, they're like hotels, rooms got to be filled. So sometimes people get ate up and chewed. And then the thing is, it was another brother. You seen that brother that was just there? Lamont McIntyre. And they got two more brothers again. So again, it's like people like to uphold and say that the system is, blind and is correct. But we as BADOS and ADOS, we see it from another perspective because, again, it chews and eats a lot of our people. There are ones that are supposed to be in there, but when you start seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in a state being wrongfully convicted, you have to say the people who are doing the prosecuting, again, like I say, that these positions are built on the fact of merit. So they need prosecutions, convictions, so that they can elevate in positions of whatever their desire they may try to be attaining. And so sometimes you get caught up. And here was a brother that lost almost 24 years of his life in a system that he was saying the whole time he's innocent. And they always say that everybody in jail always say they're innocent as some kind of little joke. But there'd be a lot of us in there that ain't done nothing. But again, other people, again, the power that people have to determine whether you can be out here free or not, but allow you to go through the process. And sometimes even in the process, it's skewed. Evidence shifted. Testimony lied. You understand? And so, Black Minds News wanted to just go ahead and give some recognition to this brother, Ricky Kidd. Hope that now that he's been released and that he can now try to rekindle the lost time with his family. Luckily for him, no tragic things have happened as until the immediate with his daughter. Don't know whether his mom, dad, and other relatives have lost their life. He didn't get a chance to spend with them. But the one thing I want to say that he said that I don't hear a lot of them say, he's angry. I'm going to say that again. He said he's angry. A lot of times when they come out, they don't want to say they're angry. It's like saying being the angry black man is the worst thing because it's like saying you're angry, hateful because you just hate. No, it has nothing to do with the injustices and disenfranchisement and all the things that entail in our duration of this life that we live in this country that we call the United States. So when you go through that kind of situation, I think it's only natural for you to have some kind of feeling. Well, other people try to make it seem like because of your anger, there's something wrong with you. But see, even after all that been said and done in his case, did you see how the white folks, the only way they could really try to make tie it in so there would be some sympathy from white folks? Yeah, we should be mad because taxpayers. What the fuck? What? Not because you should be sympathetic to, man, how's the system is doing that? Why is it getting men and putting them in the system and knowing that they were innocent? And you see the same faces all the time. Yes, sporadically there are other people here and there, but majority of the faces that you see are who you see. But I'm going to use taxpayers to somehow that includes you so that, yeah, I'm fucking mad because 23 years I'm paying my goddamn taxes for Near that didn't even do the shit. You should at least get the right one. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, again, I want to say it was good to you, Ricky Kid, family from Black MINDZ News. We put this story out here. Whether other people do it or not is another. But over here, we touch those type of stories. And so, I want to thank everybody who came over here for the participation of this show here. And, you know, it's not made for everybody. Some people might be offended. I don't know why you would be offended because, again, you know, these is our lives. This is what we go through on a daily basis, right? We live this. This is not something that you can just put on like a costume or read it like a book and think that because your situation somehow you can sympathize with me in that way. No, you cannot. And you shouldn't think you should be able to, right? So again, as that brother said, he has anger. It's a righteous anger. It's not an anger because, you know, something you could just get over. A lot of his life has been lost. And so, it's a matter of time, man. You understand? There has to be an overhaul. There has to be some corrections in this. It's been too long, persistent for too long. And people say change is a slow progression. But when you've been in it as long as we as BADOS, ADOS, need more than inches. You need more than feet and yards. You need an overhaul. There need to be checks and balances to make sure before we can say, and even if we try to use the fact that juries are convicting, but we don't really know who be in them jury boxes. They make it seem citizenry, but we never know who's really in the jury box. Am I blaming? No, I'm just saying. I cover all the corners, right? So, again, Black MINDZ News, I want to tell you, I want to thank you for your participation. And you know what I'm going to say, right? Remember when you see one another, greet your brother. Hey, brother, what's good? Greet your sister. Hey, sister, what's good? You look good today, right? Know that we in this for the long haul. We only got each other, right? We see each other, get that universal nod. If you can't say what's good or something, take all that damn hate, jealousy, spite, envy out of your ass. Understand, we all we got. Understand the team and the uniform of the team that you play on and that you own. Yes, allies are important, right? But the question you got to ask your allies, when the shit get hot, are you still gonna be here in the frying pan? Ask them another question. You ever heard of John Brown? Is John Brown real to you? Or is that just something that you heard of a mythological story, something, a fictitious in the book you read? Gotta remember, there are some, won't say all, some but not all. There are some out here who look for they have a glee in their eye for our demise. So we have to stay vigilant, mindful, cautious, and high spirit. To the next show, y'all. This is Black MINDZ News Report. To the next show.